What's up, guys? BC coming back at you guys with another one of the BC Talks episodes with an interview in it. And this time, I know for a fact that I have mentioned this man at least once in a toy review. I literally stopped in the middle of a toy review to make sure I shouted this man out because he's just such a legend. This is Nicksplasticshelf from Instagram,
Yes, sir.
which is it's awesome. It's awesome. So thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me out.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. So my first question for you is, what was your first experience with the Transformers?
Ooh, first experience. I would honestly have to say kind of a far out one was Robots in Disguise way back in the day.
Really?
Old Japanese anime, yeah, dubbed over to English. Yep, that was my first exposure.
Oh well then. All right then. Okay. All right. I was not expecting that answer, to be completely honest with you. Are you community first or toy first?
Um, you know, I used to be toy first for probably the entirety, but with the Instagram page kind of kicking up and being a little more out there recently, it's kind of been community first. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy like making some friends, just getting out there and meeting people, hearing their stories and stuff, and seeing what they collect. That's been one of my favorite things recently in the past year or two.
Very good, very good. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's obvious which one I am, but
Yeah.
I'll leave that one alone. Um, the third question here is, what is your favorite figure?
Ooh, I was trying to mentally prepare for this.
No one's ever mentally prepared for this. Trust me, even I'm not mentally prepared for this. I mean, technically speaking, I've got the next Transformers toy review to pop up, literally sitting right in front of me.
Awesome. If I had to name one more, like with a little bit of sentimentality in there and just how I like it, I would say Planet X Genesis, the War for Cybertron Omega Supreme.
I hear that's fantastic.
It is a wonderful figure. That was actually my first third-party exposure ever, so that holds a special place as well.
Oh yeah. Well, clearly enough, third party is not foreign in this household, so
Oh yeah,
I'm
definitely
like
not.
I've got a lot of it now, which is funny because back then, back when I really first started collecting, I was sitting there like, man, I'm never gonna be able to get this stuff, and I kind of kept that mentality for such a long time until I finally reached that point where I kind of started listening to what Bobby Skullface, if you ever watched him.
Oh yeah, I watch him all the time.
Yeah, one of the things he mentioned, I believe, in a Sit Down Saturday video was, "There's no such thing as canned.
Yeah, definitely.
It's how bad do you want it." And once it finally started to really kind of wind in my head and really go, you know what, I want it. I'm making it happen.
Chains are let go. We're doing it.
Exactly, and now look at all this great stuff that I now have access to.
Oh yeah, same here. I would say a good 70 to 80% of my collection is third party anymore.
Yeah. Like, granted, I do have a lot of official stuff as well, but even with that said, most of my collection now is third-party masterpiece. Like,
Yeah, that's just how it's been going recently the past few years. It's just been lots of stuff hitting all kinds of different niches in the fandom. A lot of options, a lot of nice options.
exactly, and that's the beauty of it. Again, I don't mean to sound like I'm stroking him off or anything, but again, Bobby put it perfectly. We have options now, which is the beauty of third party.
And that's the best thing you could ask for, really.
Is
It's just options.
Takara, hey, we're releasing this version. I'm not sure how I like that. third-party version. Hey, we're releasing this one. You know, I actually kind of like that better. So now all of a sudden we have the option instead of Takara releases it. Well, I'm not big on the look, but it's the only option. Bye. It's the beauty. It's the absolute beauty. Anyways, okay. This one, I will be treading on very, very sensitive grounds for the Transformers fandom. What's one thing in the Transformers, be it with the lore or the fan base itself, that you take issue with?
Ooh, so I listened to the interview you did with Alfonso, and I kind of have to agree with him with the whole treatment of the Nemesis Prime thing. Especially with obviously the Bayverse film, but more of the older media. Again, I grew up with Robots in Disguise, and there was the Scourge in there. It just felt like it's always a one-sided character that they have to throw in. Like they're obligated to make an evil version of the most amazing, like, super dad ever.
I mean, anything that was better in black. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah. And then I say this, and I own like 4 Nemesis Primes. So it's a two-sided coin for sure. But yeah, I would definitely have to agree with him on that.
Okay, so there are a few things with the community as a whole that I tend to take issue with myself, but that's more or less a community thing that I tend to take issue with. Like, honestly, when it comes to the media, I could barely give a damn, to be completely real with you, but when it comes to, like I said in the interview, I am community first.
Yeah.
I would much rather be that guy that will hear you out, help you out, be there, all that other sort of stuff. And like, if you happen to be saying, "Hey, I'm looking for this guy, but I'm not digging the prices on any of these places," you know, can anybody help me out? I'll hop on eBay every now and again. If I happen to come across a link with a perfect price, I'll send it to him and be like, "Hey, here's a link. If you want it badly enough, here you go." That's just the kind of dude that I am. But just with some of the way that some of our own brothers and sisters within this community that treat each other, it's upsetting because I've met a lot of great people through this fandom. You being one of them, Alfonso being one of them. But then there are others that I really I don't understand why that, like, from the mentality of I've been bullied most of my life, and then you come on Facebook and you start doing the same thing that you received?
Yeah, it's I know, I hear you on that. It's a psychological thing that even outside of the fandom, that's just a thing that happens with people. They associate getting this, like, kind of not a mob mentality, but more of like I'm in a group. I want to display what I've been exposed to, and unfortunately, that's the only thing they've been exposed to is like bullying, name calling, all of this like abuse, to put it bluntly. And it's kind of frustrating, but it's also more sad because it's like you can do so much better than that.
Anybody could do so much better than that, but
yeah,
I'm not here to pick on anybody. I'm here to be me.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's tough to see that, especially a lot of the times where you know they're a good person, but certain situation takes place, they're talking to the wrong person that pushes a specific button, and they just go off. It's like, you don't need to be doing that. You're a lot better than that, I know.
I have to admit, I tend to have my moments, especially when I'm having a bad day, where I will go off on somebody, but
it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
No one's immune from it.
Alright, so with that said, something a little bit more straightforward. Is there a figure you are looking forward to right now?
There Generations Assaultus, but that happened pretty quick. That was one I was just chomping at the bits for. But if I had to say one that's like coming out soon or like I've pre-ordered or whatever, I've been kind of eyeing, in a weird way, the G Creations Grimlock that just got released. Based on the Age of Extinction movie design, yeah.
Okay, I was about to be like, but if you're talking about Shuriken, there's a whole set. Like, okay, yeah.
That was on the back burner too, but yeah, that just hearing the reports on the huge change that company has done recently. They were doing the heavily IDW inspired designs, like with their Prowl, their Optimus, and again the Shuriken and everything. But them doing a movie design figure really caught my eye, and I am a movie design junkie these days. So that one really has me eyeballing it pretty bad.
I do have NPM Starscream, so
yeah.
If you need to know, platinum.
Good stuff.
Good awesome stuff. He's great. Anyways, there's really not anything I'm quote unquote looking forward to, so to speak. But I'm definitely, like, my boy Rob is definitely very happy right now because Planet X finally revealed the great prototype for one of the, honestly, probably one of the most anticipated characters, their Shockwave.
Yep, I saw that, and that was just like, finally.
That looks like a thing of beauty. I've messed with their products.
Yeah,
it's good
I've
stuff.
Had a ton of them. They're a good company, and they're one of the oldest, which is interesting.
Exactly, and it's amazing how long they've been around, especially when we're in the middle of we're in the middle of what I call the 3P war, where it's all these companies chomping at the bit trying to get our money, to whereas here's Planet X literally just off to the side minding their own business.
Yeah, exactly. They're still just putting out stuff that people wanted. It's obviously, from a company perspective, it is about the money, but for them it always felt like, here's this thing that was never made before and we know you want it. Like, we're hitting that very, very, very specific
neat
design choice that tons of people grew up on and tons of people have wanted.
Exactly, and
I appreciate it.
I adored the Magnus.
Oh yeah, that was a fantastic figure.
And
absolutely fantastic.
Ooh man. If there's any figure that I knew for a fact, if I would have kept going with Chug, I would have completed that set so fast if I had access to unlimited money.
Oh yeah.
Those Dinobots. Oh my lord, man. Oh. The Grimlock on his own.
I owned that entire set minus Grimlock for a time. It was before he came out, and it was just stellar. Plastic quality was good. The joints were pretty good. The paint, the use of the clear plastic, it was just like, how did you guys get this down so early?
Yeah. Alright, well, now I'm going to pick your brain. If you were to create a Transformers series, what would you make the central theme?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I would have to, just to get out of the oversaturation of involving Earth, involving people, I would base it on Cybertron, and I would want to explore, like, I don't know if you've read the IDW comics much, but like there was the 13 tribes of the Primes.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that. I never read it,
to see a series based on that. I think that'd be interesting.
You know what's funny is one of my major plans for Transformers Evolutions, which was a series I was planning to make in case you did get this far in that last video. that was one of the major things that I really was gonna touch on entirely because when, like, obviously, when the new Prime becomes the new Prime,
Yeah.
obviously he has to learn Cybertron's history to be able to understand the weight that the Matrix bears.
Yeah, he has to pick up that mantle and understand what it means.
Exactly, and obviously, again, if you paid attention, his father had it before him.
Yeah.
Which, that is something that he definitely feels. He kind of, I do kind of do a bit of a Hot Rod angle, but I basically look at it as I did Hot Rod, but I did it better.
Yeah, Hot Rod where it made sense.
Exactly, but the whole understanding of having to not only accept your place in life, but also accepting yourself, that is a very delicate balance that he has to learn how to do, because with that comes learning to forgive yourself. Because ultimately, in the end, the passing of your father, that's heart crushing.
Huge, yeah. That's not something that you can just kind of skip over. That hits.
Like, once it hits, that shit hits. Like, ah, man. And obviously, he's not alone in this. He's got two older brothers who, for the most part, are constantly having to keep him in check. And now, all of a sudden, he's the commander. Where now, all of a sudden, the roles flipped, where he has to keep them in check while they're keeping him in check. It's a lot of stuff I gotta work with as a whole, but I'm having fun with it because I know for a fact that it's gonna, like, I myself am a middle child, so therefore I resonate the most with Prowl, despite the fact that
you know what it's been like. You can really put that out there.
Exactly, and like whenever I would start writing specific lines for Sideburn because he's the baby of the family, I would immediately go to my brother and be like, hey, so read this real quick. How do you think Sideburn should respond to this line from Prowl? And he'd tell me, he should respond like this because he's the baby of the family. He somewhat feels entitled. And then there's X-Brawn. Oh, X-Brawn. He, like, of the three brothers, I would have to say he's the most fun to write, entirely because not only is he the older brother, he's the stronger of the three. So therefore, whenever any of the brothers get mad at him and think they could just whack him upside the head, he backhands them across the room.
Got another thing coming.
Unfortunately though, due to, like, one of the things I want to do is like an origin story of how he gets his asymmetrical proportions. And one of the original drafts, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up changing, it's during the battle with Nova Prime. This is slightly spoiler heavy, but this is going to make sense. Prior to this, he very much looked like TFP Bulkhead, which is one of the best designs.
Oh yeah, it was just so polished.
And so therefore he had the two fist maces.
The big wrecking ball, yeah.
The giant wrecking balls, yes. Well, during the battle with Nova Prime, which I want to say this was the season 3 finale battle, Nova chops off his right arm.
Ooh.
And since it's already established in the first couple seasons that Megatron was ruling the planet with an iron fist, a lot of their old data files got erased or corrupted. One of them was the data file for his arms.
Oof.
So Ratchet had no choice but to build him a new arm. And it was smaller than his left arm. To make up for the fact that he knew for a fact it was going to be smaller than his left arm, he put an electric shock component in it.
So it's small, but it still metaphorically packs a large punch.
Exactly, which I then proceeded to somewhere within their X-Bronze big breakthrough on the whole I have a gimp was he literally just kind of manhandles one of the headmaster Decepticons, and when he slams him down, he zaps him. I had so much fun writing that scene because it's literally just a case of I gotta do the country accent for a split second. I'm sitting here with a gimp, and I'm throwing you around like you're just a couple of protoforms. Come on, step your game up.
I would love to see like a visual of that just happening.
It will happen one day. I promise you this. I promise you this. It will happen one of these days.
Awesome.
All right. The second to last question. Is there anything else you are into outside of the Transformers?
There's a few things I'm into. A little bit of anime stuff like Neon Genesis Evangelion. I don't know if you've heard of that one. That's a big yes then. I have some model kits from that. Obviously, I'm into Gundam, have been for ages, but it's all obviously kind of centralized just around robots, big giant things just smashing into stuff.
That's where it's at.
Love it. Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure what else I'm into is relatively obviously on display. But yeah. The final question, funny enough, is: do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. What is one Transformers series that you liked quite a bit, but had like a lot of issues with, either from like a writing standpoint or animation or just like something small that could have bugged you or something, but you're really wanting to like it?
Or so you're saying I wanted to like it, but I just can't.
Yeah, you just can't.
Ouch.
And it could be a show, movie, video game, anything, any of the Transformers media.
The Prime Wars.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you
I
there.
gotta go with Prime Wars on that. And the reason why I say the Prime Wars trilogy is that one series that I want to like it so badly, but I just can't. It's entirely because of how hard they boasted that show, how it was going to be relative to the comics, it was going to be relative to the toys, it was going to hit super dark, super serious themes, and the final show just felt like a typical Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, it felt like another Tom and Jerry. It lacked any kind of personality. I felt the voice acting was really bad. That's one of the big things that bothered me.
Voice acting wise, the first go around with Combiner Wars, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Aside from Megatron, the dude
Megatron was good.
the dude
Megatron
who
was
they
pretty
picked to voice Megatron, that dude did a stellar job.
Yeah, he nailed that one, which made the other bad voice acting that much worse. Because it's like you have this really good Megatron, and then Windblade, Optimus, 3 other characters that are just like kind of there. They're participating, I guess. They showed up to the party, but they don't know what's on the planned schedule.
Basically. But then, like, I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like with Combiner Wars, as far as the voice acting went, they learned their lesson. And when when Titans Return came about, we got far stronger voice actors.
Yeah, it picked up pretty good with this last 2, which I was really glad with, because that start was really rough with those.
Yeah, Titans Return I felt was really good. I still draw issues with it on a writing standpoint. I don't think it's even remotely hitting what they were claiming it was going to hit.
Agreed.
But at the same time, they definitely really, like, when it came to the voice actors delivering the performance, that was a major step up. I mean, I believe they got Judd Nelson back to...
Yeah, they did.
To revoice Hot Rod. Peter Cullen came back as Optimus.
Peter Cullen back, so they were obviously like, oh, we kind of messed up. We need to really do a 180 here.
Yeah, exactly. We really messed up as far as that goes. I would have liked a Triptychon voice, but I understand why we didn't. I
Yeah,
understand it.
yep, I agree with that.
I'm a little upset that Metroplex had to get killed off only to be replaced by Fortress Maximus. Not that I hate Fortress Maximus, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Metroplex and Triptychon were always rivals. So the fact that
they have that history.
the fact that they just kind of tossed Metroplex to the side, I'm like, he's way more powerful than that, and you know it.
I agree. I fully agree with that.
Oh man, nah. But if there's anything that really just it blew my mind when I finally confirmed it for myself, it was when the Fallen came into the picture and he started talking.
Yep, it's like, ooh,
It's
I
like,
know who that is.
see, here's the thing. I'm usually one of those people where if I pay enough attention, I will recognize the voice actor entirely by something. And as soon as I heard that familiarity, I'm like, no, it can't be.
Him in this? Oh, that's good. That's good stuff.
And as soon as I looked it up, I don't know if you eventually figured it out or not, but that was Mark Hamill.
Yep. Phenomenal job. Just
he crushed it as the Fallen. He absolutely crushed it, which is another reason why I said the voice acting major step up.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that everything else just kind of stayed where it was at.
Yeah, nothing was learned from the Combiner Wars. One of the other big things that kind of bothered me a lot is they killed off characters left and right. Just, oh, that person's dead. Oh, that Combiner's dead. It's like, whoa, we could have developed that a little further, don't you think?
If you're familiar with Dash EXP, he's the voice of Menasor. Menasor is my favorite Decepticon combiner.
And they just, look what they did to him. Shame.
So now, like, again, if you've seen any videos of Dash EXP, every single time I see Menasor, and I know it's Dashy doing the voice, every time I want to see Menasor do this whole bit.
Totally different character perspective.
Exactly. It makes you think, what's going on here? Like, like Dashy, man, if you're listening, man, we're proud of you. You killed it with that character. We're so sorry that it was so short-lived. But yeah, Rodimus Kron. That model overall looked amazing.
That's one of the few times where like the whole Nemesis-ish Prime thing that I'm a fan of when it comes to Hot Rod, because I feel like he's the kind of character that already has like a lot of internal struggle, even if he isn't being brainwashed or something.
Yeah.
So that I could be into really, really quickly, and I was when I first saw it. It was like, I like where this is going. Those colors look amazing. That mold looks great. I'm digging it.
The mold. Here's the thing. That was a mold where, as a toy, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But as a display piece, it clearly suffered.
Yes, definitely. I own both the Hot Rod version and the Unicron version, and they were fun to mess with, just really smart transformations, but displaying-wise, they left a lot to be desired.
Yeah. Alright, anything else?
Oh, I got one. I got a reverse one for you. What's one figure you don't think you'll ever get rid of? Like, you cannot let go of this, either from like a value perspective, or this holds a lot of sentimentality for me, or it's just this engineering is perfect and they'll never do better.
This is actually a very easy one for me, and I will always tell this story. It's Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime.
Interesting. That's an interesting one.
And the reason why is because when I got around the time I got that figure, it was Christmas that year,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom obviously was strapped for cash, so she really couldn't be spending big money on gifts like that.
Yeah.
But I begged, I pleaded, and one year, that 1 year, entirely based upon luck, since things weren't really going to be as typical as we normally do it every year for Christmas, my mom said, well, if you guys want to open your gifts now, you can. Naturally, I grabbed the biggest one there because obviously that one's going to be first. And I popped the top I pulled off the top wrapping paper, and as soon as I saw that head, I lost my mind.
Just over the moon.
Like, over the moon. My mama did not care how much the figure costed. The only thing she cared about was, my son wants it. I'm getting it.
That's awesome, though.
And so
That's really cool.
Entirely for that purpose alone, if everything here were to be sold, he would never go. That stays no matter what.
That's awesome.
I mean, obviously, if something happens and I die, then I would rather it get sold off.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that's a special one.
Exactly. It's definitely something that I don't want to say that I would die for this toy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely say that if somebody were to break it, I would literally be half tempted to commit murder.
Yeah.
And it's entirely because of the sentiment. It's entirely because of the sentiment of it. I cannot let that figure go.
Yeah, there's so many good memories tied to it. I agree with that. Totally agree.
I mean, hell, he's literally just sitting in my 4-cube shelf that's just kind of sitting on top of my dresser.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally just sitting there, and even though he's way further in the back than most of the others, he sticks out.
Still there. Yeah, he's still there.
He sticks out to me every single time I walk past that shelf. No matter what, I always see him, and every single time I see him, I'm like,
that's the stuff. That's the good times.
Okay, so unless you have any other questions, I guess I could go into showing off a couple things.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
So first things first, to try and get your goat a little bit, as well as a little bit of a flex. Fans Toys Sovereign.
Sovereign. I gotta get that thing someday. I'm not an MP collector, but just the sake of him being an amazing figure from what I've seen, what I've been told, it feels worth it. Looks good.
Oh yeah, whether you're an MP collector or not, I feel like Sovereign is one of those figures you need to experience in your lifetime at some point.
Yeah, just even as a standalone, I've heard it's just fantastic. Peak Fans Toys.
Yeah. Now, naturally, there are some Fans Toys figures that I would love to have, but I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. And nature of Fans Toys, they're a little bit on the pricey side.
Yeah. I mean, just last night, me and my wife were having a conversation about it, where we ended up going through the options that I have for a few of my characters, because I'm very adamant about making sure the shelves in general get the amount of characters that are necessary for that general time frame.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of the characters is Omega Supreme. The one I want is the Fans Toys. But even she's starting to agree. DX9 is starting to look like the far less spicy meatball.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I had the Fans Toys one for a while. Loved it. Just an amazing presence on the shelf. One gigantic, colossal issue, though. The hips for that thing, the teeth for the ratchets are so far apart, he can only really stand in an A stance. Anything else, that thing's gonna fall over like a big building, which is such a shame because it is a gorgeous figure. Tons of paint, tons of detail, but that DX9 version didn't have that issue.
Yeah, standing in an A stance consistently would drive me nuts.
Yeah. Yep, that was the big issue I had with it. Gorgeous figure anyway, but it was a reminder that, like, could have been perfect.
Now, funny enough, the figure that sold me on Fans Toys as a whole.
Cool. All right, that's a nice one. I've been hearing good things about that one, especially now that it's finally widely available.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be throwing a lot of shade at a lot of people right now. This transformation is not as BS hard as everybody claimed. I can do this easily. And I'm one of those people, like, Brandon, I'm one of those people where I naturally like a complex transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been people that have been saying this figure is so ridiculously complex that it makes you want to throw it across a room.
I've been hearing that. That's weird.
If you're one of those people who pays attention to everything you're doing and understands how the engineering works, you can do this easily. Am I daring enough to say that he's perfect? No. He's clearly got issues. I will openly admit to that. There are certain aspects of this transformation that worry me oh so much.
Yeah.
But ultimately, in the end, what mode is he going to be in? The entirety of his life.
Exactly. That's what it all boils down to. You're not going to display Cup in his Cybertron, like, pickup truck mode.
Exactly.
No one's gonna do it.
As good looking as it is, I'm not going to do it. Although, funny enough, like I said, this is the figure that sold me on Fans Toys. I believe the figure that really hardcore sold me on the Ocular Max line, because I really wanted to get at it, was, I believe it was actually Sphinx.
Okay.
But around the time I ordered Sphinx was around the time I started this beast.
Oh, he's so good. Mastermind Creations Bruticus.
Mastermind Creations Assaultus.
Just phenomenal.
Absolutely. If there is anything that can come close to perfection in my eyes, this is it.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree. Absolutely. It's like 99% there.
He's simply fantastic. Although I'm never quite sure. Are these supposed to be pushed up, or are they supposed to be extended out? The Onslaught legs.
I usually have them as far in as I can get them. Like, as far collapsed.
Oh, okay. I see why they do it like that. Okay. Yeah,
I do like how, I think it's Onslaught and Brawl, I think, are the only ones that have this, but the button-activated telescoping feature with, like, the legs and stuff, that's so smart. Every figure should have that.
Yeah, exactly. It'll make transforming a lot of it that much easier. But just overall, the final look of this is ultimately why I went in, because it looks great in every mode.
Yeah, there's not a single individual mode or the combined mode or anything that I dislike even a percentage. It's incredible.
It is fantastic. Very well done. I mean, if I could nitpick anything, I wish there was more articulation in the hands.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, they're a bit limited, but
like I need spread because this is supposed to be a big, giant, hulking rage monster, and the fact that you can't quite do the rage hand. and the fact that you can't quite do the rage hand is just it's slightly upsetting, but
Yeah, I
guess
agree.
could be.
I do get why they didn't incorporate it with the whole hand splitting in half and hiding in the legs. It would have been tough, but yeah, I would definitely have liked to have the hand spread.
I mean, the dude's got an ab crunch.
Yeah, they gave the combined mode an ab crunch. Completely dedicated ab crunch.
And
What a set.
with that said, that ab crunch not only works with the combined mode, it works with Onslaught's robot too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they thought, oh, that works for combined mode, but also let's put it in a spot where it totally works for robot mode too.
Like, I'm telling you, man. If Bobby Skullface has his thing with fans toys, I'm having it with MMC.
Yeah, and I've been with MMC since Fail Rex and everything since they pretty much started, and just seeing them go from Feral Rex, which was good for its time. It had a few issues here and there. To this thing, it was just
it's night and
total
day.
World change. Yeah, it's night and day for sure. Total definition of that.
My only major gripe with him is trying to get him standing is a bit of a chore.
Yeah, he's just so big and there's just so much posability going on. You really have to fiddle with it.
But once he's standing,
looks good.
Looks fantastic. And if you flip these little back panels down, you get thigh swivel.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Huh.
Yeah, these panels
try that.
Yeah, for transformation you have to flip these up.
Oh yeah, those.
If you flip those down, you have access to the thigh
That's a
swivel.
pretty good range too. Wow.
And that's kind of how I've been getting him to stand up. Because there's also the like we said, the beauty of that ab crunch.
Yeah. Just wow, what a way to end the year with third party. So good.
They completed Assaultus and their Defensor is next.
Yeah, and their Defensor's already being worked on. It's like, wow, how good is that thing gonna be? And then who might they do after that? I don't know.
Please be Superion. Please be Superion. Please
I know.
be Superion.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Superion, he needs it. He needs it real bad.
He's in desperate need. I don't even care if they end up doing the same thing that they did with Zeta, and start doing both of the Autobot combiners at the same time.
Yep.
And plus, even then, Superion will be so much easier to do because we all know how MMC loves themselves a repaint.
Oh yeah, they can drive that home for a while.
They could finish Superion so fast.
Easily.
It's Defensor. If they end up doing a Menasor, I'd have to decide if he'd be worth going in on, because one of the options that I'm looking at currently for Superion is entirely. My wife made a very good point of this. Entirely because with one purchase I get all 5 figures. Zeta.
Yeah.
I am heavily looking into Zeta as far as my Superion goes. But when it came to the robot modes, because that's ultimately what I'm trying to display more right now.
Me too.
I'm gonna want to go with Fans Toys. Fans Toys is
Yeah.
stupid expensive.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very expensive combiner.
But with that said, the Silverbolt from Zeta, that one's robot mode looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. He showed me like the entire breakdown of the Zeta Superion, and that Silverbolt stuck out. just looks so good.
It's it's so good. With that said, though, everyone else on the other hand, they're a bit iffy. I don't know. Maybe I have to see them with everything.
Yeah.
In order for me to kind of decide if that's the route I'm gonna go.
Yeah, to really get sold on it.
But even then,
that's how it is with everything, really.
But even then, like, I'm gonna be real. I was content with just doing robot modes.
Game changer.
I don't know if I can stick with robot modes now.
Later today, I plan on reorganizing the shelves a bit just to see if I can fit him in there. Because he deserves to be displayed like that. He's just so good. So good.
See, but here's the thing. Even with that said, the robot modes are so powerful in the sculpt department that you can put them on the shelf in robot mode and they will display just as strong.
Yep, that's what mine are doing right now. I'm looking right at them, and it just looks like a powerhouse of a team.
It does. Oh my lord.
So good. And that's like a good problem to have, is both of the modes, the robot and even the vehicle modes are really good. The robot and combined modes are so good that I don't know how I'm going to display them. Because they're just so good.
I mean, at some point today, after I get done showing them off to my buddy, because Bruticus is his favorite combiner, so he's been itching to decide whether or not that's worth it.
At it.
Just be like, eh? I have it. It's here. It's great.
Yep. Can confirm.
Can confirm. It is fantastic. The weapon storage is insane.
Oh yeah, that I was looking at the TFW forums when I was still waiting on Onslaught and Brawl, and the fact that they made a dedicated spot for Vortex's gun in Onslaught for combined mode.
And no one knew!
Like, what?
And not a soul knew.
Mm-hmm. Yep, wasn't in the instructions, just someone thought, that looks like it might hold that gun. I'm gonna try it. Wow, that totally worked. And that's where it's meant to go. Crazy.
Alright, well, if there's any other questions that you may or may not have?
Nothing really comes to mind at the moment, no.
Okay, well, if you have a bit of a sign-out thing that you do, go ahead and do it now so we can wrap this up.
All right. Thanks for having me out. This was a blast. It's always awesome to talk to friends in the Transformers community. It's what I long for anymore. It's just so cool to hear opinions and everything. Go check out Nicksplasticshelf on Instagram. I'd appreciate it. Go see some of that stuff. And again, thanks for having me. Been a blast.
Thank you very much for coming on. This is BC saying, stay nerdy, get your geek on. I'll talk to you guys next time.